Hi guys, welcome to week 43 of 2018. Alright, this is the trade plan for the week video. Alright, so let's take a look directly right into the dollar index chart. I will be focusing mainly on the forward time frame for all the pairs and instruments that we'll be sharing in this particular video. Alright, simply because I feel that 4-hour chart is actually best for our weekly trade plan. Alright, the daily would be slightly too long, and of course the 1-hour time frame is more for intraday and looking out for setups. Right, now let's start out with the dollar index for this week. I'm expecting it to weaken for this whole week itself. Right, so two expectations over here. One is I'm saying that this is an impulse move. Price is completed an ABC as an expanding flat. Right, in this case, there might be two perspectives of how we can view the dollar. Right, one is for this to be an expanding flat, and therefore we expect another impulse move to the downside, which means we are expecting something like this happening over here, which means this can be a 1, 2, and of course 3, 4, 5, which means this move down for this week, if it happens impulsively, we can expect price to break this previous low at 93.81. Alright, and if that doesn't happen, the alternative perspective is this. Alright, this can be our impulse move. Okay, and this gives us an A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, which means that if price falls correctively and finds support within about 94.4 to 94.73, we can expect price to make another move up, giving us a potential 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this week itself, no matter which view and perspective we are taking, we do expect price to at least give us a drop, potentially towards at least the 94.7 region. Right, which means that overall we are looking at the dollar weakness. So if we look into the euro dollar, we do expect the euro dollar pair to strengthen moving forward. Okay, very similar to the dollar pair, we have one as an ABC expanding flat, which means we expect price to move higher, breaking this low, this high. Alright, if price move off correctively and find resistance around 1.1622 and 1.1667, then potentially this becomes an ABC. We will expect one more move to the downside. Alright, so very similar to the dollar view, we are expecting the euro dollar to strengthen for this coming week. Right, now in terms of pound dollar, it's a bit complicated, it's a bit complex. Right, the correction that is developing is not as clear cut as we would like it to be, which means that initially our expectation was 1, 2, 3. This ABC over here would have finished its correction and making another move up. Right, but last week we saw price actually find resistance around this region and make a new low. Alright, so what we are expecting right now is a potential ABC or WXY, a more complex correction before the up move is gonna develop. Right, so looking into this week, we are expecting the price to fall slightly lower, potentially towards 1.2879 or 1.2789 region. Alright, which coincide with the lower boundary of our channel as well. Alright, so this week we'll be expecting the weakness on pound, relatively more than the dollar. Alright, for the pound dollar pairs to fall lower. Okay, the Australia dollar, we are expecting it to continue its minor correction toward the upside, around 0.7177 or even 7210, before the potential final wave down towards 69.46. Okay, in other words, we are expecting the Aussie to weaken relatively more significant than the dollar. Right, of course this week dollar weakness might continue to push the Aussie up, giving us a corrective move and a final wave towards the downside. Right, in terms of the dollar Canadian, alright, we see that price is really respecting the whole channel very nicely, forming a completed WXY. Right, you can see over here 1, 2, 3, ABC as a corrective move of this down, and then another ABC. Alright, so that completes our 1, 2, 3 as well, and we saw that this is a very strong impulse move to the upside. Alright, so this part here, potential correction to be coming this week. Alright, so there's some resistance over here at the top of the channel. I'm expecting some corrective move lower, potentially towards 1.2957 or even 1.2915. Alright, if price develop correctively towards this area, it'll be a very good region for us to look for potential buy setup. Alright, so in other words, this week we are expecting dollar CAD to correct, alright, for the next 5 days. Okay, which coincides with our dollar weakness as well. Dollar Swiss franc, alright, this is how I see it. We saw a very strong move up, alright, this is definitely an impulse move. Okay, we only saw a minor correction, which I doubt this is the whole of it. Right, so right now the last week development has break the previous high, so give us a potential expanding flat expectation. Okay, which means that this week I'm expecting the price to fall lower, potential towards 0.984 or even 9798 to complete at least the ABC as an expanding flat. Right, whether this will be the entire corrective structure for a move to the upside, we'll see after this week development. Right, but for this week we'll be looking for that potential weakness in the dollar Swiss franc. As for the dollar yen, alright, price made a very nice bounce from this trend line over here after a very strong move to the downside. Alright, this development looks like it's correcting itself, and we might see a potential 3-wave 1, 2, 3 towards 113.09 or 113.43 for a potential another move towards the downside. Alright, so as long as price continue to correct in this manner, alright, develop in a very corrective manner, we do expect one more move to the downside. Okay, alternatively, this can be also a running flat over here. Alright, this 1, 2, 3. Alright, but really depends on how price develop for this coming week. Alright, so right now with this development, we do expect one more move to the downside after it correct to the upwards direction towards 113.9 or 113.43. Right, Euro Yen, this is what I'm seeing. Price has respected this channel previously, and then it makes a low over here. Now this move that is developed, I'm seeing it as a 3-wave corrective WXY. It's a corrective move simply because you can see it's not very strong and price overlaps a lot while it's moving lower. Alright, that gives me the expectation that potential up move is there. Right, a very conservative aim for this week is 130.73 and 131.3. Of course, if this is really going to move higher, we are going to expect it to break the 113.13 level. Okay, but at least for now, we do see this is as a short-term resistance, which means price this week might hit this level and make a corrective move before another move higher. Alright, so for this week, we are expecting the Euro Yen to correct higher towards 130.73 and 131.3. Right, Pound Yen, I'm looking at a potential development of a 5-way structure. There are 2 ways that we might want to consider. Alright, one is what I've labeled over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is one way of looking at it, which means we're expecting the Pound Yen to strengthen for this week towards the upside. Alright, the other way to look at it is this is 1, 2, 3 as an ABC. Right, which means that this corrective move might continue to develop longer. Right, potentially this is 1, 2, 3, a 50% retracement to develop another 1, 2, 3 lower. Okay, so how do we know which is developing? As long as price continue to respect this invalidation level of 145.68. Okay, this whole perspective is still valid, which means we expect price to break above the previous high of 149.71. Okay, so this is something that we'll monitor for the week, right, to see how it's gonna go. Aussie Yen, alright, Aussie Yen is pretty straightforward and similar to Aussie Dollar. Right, we saw an impulsive move, and then for the past 1 to 2 weeks it has been corrective. So we expect price to continue to develop its corrective move potential towards 80.76, 81.17 for a move lower towards 77.66, or even targeting very conservatively at the previous low here at 78.68. Alright, so for this week, our expectation on the Aussie yen is to the downside. Right, Euro Pound, you can see price is respecting this bearish channel very nicely. Alright, and recent move has completed in WXY, and now is developing a very nice ABC move as well, respecting this inner trendline channel. Okay, so we are expecting price to continue to correct all the way up towards the top of this bearish channel around the 88.58 or 88.91. Right, so that region over there will be a good potential level and area to look for short trades, potentially looking for lower targets. Right, Euro Swiss franc. Okay, our initial target is still there. Alright, our initial perspective doesn't change. This is what we are seeing. Okay, since the low at 1.1243, we are still seeing this as an expanding flat of ABC. Alright, and we have been seeing this divergence continue to hold, which means that long-term view, we are still expecting price to move lower impulsively towards 1.1201, at least for a very conservative target, and potentially even lower to 1.1021. Right, as of this week, we continue to expect the Euro franc to weaken. Alright, but of course you need to have your own way of looking how to enter the trade. Gold, we are seeing a very clean ABC structure over here. This is our A, this is B, and of course this is C. Alright, in terms of C, what I'm seeing over here is from this low at 1180. Alright, we are seeing 1, 2, 3, potentially this is developing as a fourth wave for last wave to the upside between 1235.57 or 1248.51. Alright, and once price tag this high, I expect a deeper correction to come. Right, as of now, price seems to be in developing in a corrective way, which means we expect one more move to the upside. Right, next is oil. We are seeing a very nice impulse move lower here. Okay, this impulse moves might be a five-way structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means this potentially can be our A move, and therefore we expect a 3-wave correction potential towards the 7268 or 73.67 area, right, which nicely coincides with our internal wave 4, and from there we expect a move lower. Alright, so for this week, we expect the oil to correct itself, at least in a 3-wave structure towards 72.68. Alright, the last instrument I would like to share with you is the S&P 500. Right, recently what we have is a very strong dip over here, which might be our wave 3, okay, of a corrective structure, which means we are seeing this as a potential 1, 2, 3. Wave 4 is developing. Alright, and we are looking for wave 5 to come. Okay, now wave 4 can be completed around this region, or it can take a longer time for it to develop. Okay, so this week itself, we are continue to being bearish on the S&P while holding a potential expectation that this can be a corrective move that is still developing. Alright, which means we saw a 1, 2, 3, a very small internal 3-wave structure here. This drop doesn't look like it's starting to make a new low, right? Which means that this can be a WX and one more move to the upside towards the around the region of 2846. Right, so as long as price continue to maintain below the 2902 level, our view on this 5-wave structure maintains as it is. Right, so that's all that I'm looking at for the overall trading plan for the week. Alright, you can see over here those that I tag on the red. Alright, those are pairs that I have a potential setup that I'll be looking closer, alright, on the intraday time frame to spot my setup. Right, so with that, I hope this video, though it's not very long, alright, I like to keep it concise to give you the overall view and perspective of what is the bias for the various instruments and currency pairs that I'm looking for this coming week. Alright, If you have any questions or any suggestions for me, feel free to drop me an email, or you know how to reach out to me. Let me know. All right, and of course, if this weekly trade plan and the video along with this provides certain value and helps to give you a different perspective in your trading, do let me know as well. All right, how it has benefited you in your trading itself. Alright, so with that, wishing you all a great week ahead, and always remember to manage your risks accordingly.